Welcome to Talk Law Radio with attorney Todd Marquardt of the Marquardt Law Firm at marquardtlawfirm.com.
Welcome back to Talk Law Radio. I'm Todd Marquardt here with Amy Childs. We're talking about executive coaching and peer advisory groups and making better business decisions. Don't go alone. We're going to be having a seminar on September 21st at the Dominion Country Club. We're going to provide a small breakfast and talk about these same things from 8 a.m. to 10 p.m. That would be all day. 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. Just 2 hours. We'll be talking about that for business owners, CEOs, and other C-suite level executives. If you have a business, give us a call to register at 210-530-4278. This is our final segment. It's the fourth segment. We'll be talking about legacy.
And now, it's time for the Talk Law Radio Legacy Spotlight. What's your legacy? Sponsored by Marquardt Law Firm.
So I like to talk about legacy because Marquardt Law Firm does wills and trusts and estate planning, and the law firm sponsors the show. And so I like to combine the legacy with whatever we're learning about the law. And we've been talking about how to grow a business, how to make good business decisions. And I know that part of my legacy, whether my kids become lawyers or not, is going to be what I learned from watching Dad run his business. What do you think your legacy is going to be?
Yeah, I pray that my children, my clients, people that know me will be able to say that I was real to them, authentic, and that I helped people be a better version of themselves. More excellent is what I like to say. I like people to, if I can help someone be more excellent, then I feel that that's valuable.
Okay, and tell us about your philosophy, your 4 F's.
Yes, my 4 F's. My faith is paramount. You have to be anchored in some way. And as I've gone through the ups and downs of business ownership, of marriage, of 5 children, launching 3 of them, my faith has always stood firm. Not that I haven't questioned it, but that it has been a grounding for me, and you have to be grounded. And I would say a peer group also grounds you in that way and reminds you back to point to your North Star, your faith, your God, whatever it is for you. My family is my why. Why do I wake up? I do have 5 kids. I've launched 3, but never fully launched them. I've connected with my family on football. I love football. It's a great leadership tool. It's a lesson laboratory for learning how to make decisions and how to have accountability. And then flying. I've just always had just a passion for flying. My dad had a small little Cessna that he used to fly me around in. When I was at the Air Force Academy, he would come and pick me up and fly me home. So I learned to just get above the ground, get that 30,000-foot view, so to speak, and just have that sense of closeness to God and of faith above the ground. So those are my 4 F's.
That's awesome. I'm curious about football. Did you grow up watching football, or did this just start with your boys?
Yeah, I mean, it was a sport. It was okay. I never really had a passion for it until my boys got involved. But as a mother, how do you connect with a 13-year-old boy? Or how do you connect with a 16-year-old boy? And as my sons loved football, and one son was a quarterback, and we've suffered injuries, it's a laboratory that I use to connect to my kids. And so I thought, if we're going to do it, let's be all in. So I'm an all-in mom when it comes to football, and I've learned a lot. And in some ways, I'm almost jealous of the brotherhood of football, because there is that teamwork and accountability, similar to the military, but in a different way.
Okay. I sometimes wonder, how do I connect with my 16-year-old daughter?
Yeah, so you find out what they're interested in.
Yeah.
And then you become interested. And if it's NASCAR, or if it's butterflies, or if it's lipstick, or whatever it is that they're interested in, I say you go be all in.
I have a friend that went the NASCAR route with his son. They start out in these little tiny cars, you know, racing around like NASCAR. And he said it was so expensive. And when his son was that age, he didn't have a lot of disposable income. But he made it work because he had a friend that said, do you think that this is less expensive, or do you think rehab would be less expensive?
Right, right.
So I've always tried to keep the kids busy, doing whatever it is that they were passionate about. I was in the band. All my kids played the saxophone just like I did, but they eventually quit playing it when I continued through high school and college. So that's interesting that you say help them follow their passions, and you have to learn some new things as well.
Yeah, be curious. Be curious.
And I like your analogy of the 30,000-foot view of life, of your business issues, because I don't know anybody that would just say, I already know everything, right? Because we don't. And in the peer advisory group, somebody's going to ask a question or going to see something that causes them to be curious about your business because we're not in the same industry. And when you're explaining it, maybe have an aha moment when, oh, I didn't even think about it that way.
Right. That's always my goal, is to get somebody to think about something differently. And quickly going back to the flying, if you've ever taken off under clouds, it's gray, it's dark, it's cold, you take off, you go through that little bit of turbulence in the clouds, and then you break through, and the sun is up there. And that's a little bit of what a peer group can offer. And I know that at the end of a day, we always do a takeaway. You know, what did you get out of today? And people will always say, I can see things from a different way now. Or I might have a little bit more hope. Or I know a plan of what the next right thing is that I need to do. And that's what the value of a peer group is, and getting above the problem.
And with Vistage too, another component is the speakers, which I sort of view as like college professors. They're gonna teach us something that we're not using, or we didn't think that we need. And I always learned something that I could apply to the law office in some way, even when I wouldn't necessarily sign up for that class, because again, I can't see a 360 view of myself and my business because I'm always there in it, just trying to satisfy my clients and motivate my employees and make sure that there's enough money to pay all the bills and payroll, and then put in a little extra something in my pocket. So I like having the speakers teach us about things that we didn't know that we might need.
Right, and remember, these speakers go traveling around the country speaking just to CEOs and business owners, so they know what the relevant issues are. And a lot of my business owners will say, I can't take a day out of the office to go listen to these speakers. And at the end of the day, it's the kindest thing you can do for your employees in your office, is to get that knowledge and take it back to them.
Well, and two, when the economy was bad, some of my business clients would say, I can't afford to do this, that, or the other. And I always said, if this were my last $1,000, this is how I would spend it, you know, to get advice on how to get beyond that. We were talking about Top Gun and the danger zone, and what if your business is always, you feel like it's always in the danger zone? Well, I don't want to live that way.
Right. Who does? Right. And eventually it'll catch up to you physically living that way. Our bodies can't handle that kind of stress. And that we always talk about, the body keeps the score.
Mm-hmm.
And so you have to learn how to manage that living in the danger zone.
And if you don't see it yourself, by showing up to the meeting, somebody's going to say, you don't look good, what's wrong?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe nobody else talks to you about that kind of thing. When you're the CEO, when you're the boss, everybody says you have the great ideas, and nobody tells you what's wrong because they don't want to make a mistake. What I like about having you as an executive coach and having the Vistage Peer Advisory Group is that I have people that will kindly tell me when they see something happening that could cause problems.
Yeah, I call it carefrontation.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to confront you on it. I'm not going to let you not address it, but I do care. I do care, and the peers in the room care. They're the people that have your back as a peer advisory group, so it's carefrontation.
Mm-hmm. And also did we run out of time? Oh, okay. Sorry, Mark, the clock stopped. What I was going to say is that when I'm in the whirlwind, that's what I call the day-to-day business decisions of seeing clients, researching their legal issues, producing their planning documents or their litigation documents. It's easy to forget what were my goals of growing the business, adding another attorney, buying an office building. Those are all hard things to do, and if I just say now, if I rationalize it to myself, now's not a good time. There's no good employees out there. Nobody wants to work. Well, nobody's going to challenge me on that. But if you have somebody that will, that's what allows me to grow as somebody that's not going to accept my rationalization.
Right, and also to remind you to celebrate the wins. Because as a high-performing business owner, we usually go from one challenge to the very next, and we forget to stop and say, yeah, I did grow that business last year. Mm-hmm. And we always talk in numbers. My growth rate was 22%, 36% growth rate. I've added attorneys, I've added employees. I'm impacting a greater population in San Antonio because of the efforts that I've put in.
Right. You mentioned that that helped you get through some tough times. Tell me about that, the impact that you've made on employees.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we're impacting lives, huge impact. And we fostered children at one point, and I thought, I can't fix the foster system. It just seems too big. But I did make an impact for 2 little girls. And so I feel that way with my business owners. I've helped them live a more excellent life. And
in doing so, helped their employees,
yeah,
and the families of those employees as well.
Yeah, the impact's huge.
Talk to you later.
This has been Talk Law Radio with attorney Todd Marquardt, brought to you by the Marquardt Law Firm. You can learn more at marquardtlawfirm.com. And be sure to listen to the full Talk Law Radio show Saturday mornings at 11 on 9:30 a.m. The Answer.
Each week, attorney Todd Marquardt talks about the law. His mission with the Talk Law Radio show and podcast is to help you discover your legal issue blind spots. In the beginning, God had one law. Don't eat from the fruit of that tree. Then came the 10 Commandments. Now we have federal, state, and municipal lawmakers that won't stop creating new laws. Laws that might impact you without you knowing it. Listen to the show and drop a line on Facebook or email host@talklawradio.com and let the host know what you think of the show, the topics you want to hear, and whether you want to be a guest.